as we continue. So now we have well, you know what, I'm not going to go too much farther into this. You can either have the character speaking to you, which of course I'm saying the user, or you can have an interaction with somebody else on stage. Traditionally, when I send an example, you'll see that there is a communication going on between two people, which I prefer that you do, but for the sake of this video and just getting you to understand what the assignment is and how to do it, I'm just going to do this here. So here it is. A question has been posed by Amber, and we need to give the user now options on whether or not we've seen Paul, right? So we're going to go ahead and insert two buttons, right? Because I want to have some sort of interaction. I'm pretty sure, and I'm just going to assume everybody's on 360. All you have to do is go over to the button here and choose which one you'd like. I'm just going to go ahead and say this one and draw it in here. Okay, like that. Oh. And then I'll draw another one. You know what? I'm just going to copy and paste it from NCV and put it down here. I want them to be just about, how do I want to do this? I'm going to go ahead and make it 50-50. So I'll do that. And that. And however you want to go about doing this, that's entirely up to you. But you can see that this now is something that we should label. So the top one I'm going to call yes, yes. Bottom one I'm going to call no, no. And just like anything else, you see when I click on it, my format comes up here. I want my yes to be green, and I want my no to be red. I also do not want there to be a border on either. So that's good. And then I want it to show up kind of behind my frame so it looks like it's part of it, so you know that all I have to do is come down to the timeline and drag that down below my frame. And that just looks a little bit cleaner, right? And you can see I'm having troubles moving it about here, so I'm just going to right click and do size and position. I want a little bit of white space at the bottom, the middle, and the top, so I'm going to hit close now, and that looks okay. So now I want this to say a certain bit of stuff, right? So I definitely want this top one to say yes, the bottom one to say no. So up here I'm just going to click on it and just start typing Y-E, oh, 52. Y-E-S. Why does it keep doing a T? Y-E-S. Down here I'm going to say N-O. Now, it's entirely up to you how you want to do this, right? So you can see that my yes is very legible. I know that says yes and that says no down there. But if you want to make it a little bit more natural reading, we can go here at the home, and you see that it says align text and text direction. Well, if I click text direction, you see when I get that drop down that I have an option of horizontal, which is default, or I can go ahead and rotate that either 90 or 270. So I don't know why, and it's not a big deal, but I kind of like doing it this way a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and align, text direction on both of these at 270, just so it looks a little something like that. And I think you can do the align text. It should be center, but if you want to do left, if you want to do right, whatever. I mean, those are just things that you can do. So now I have everything that I need. Again, you can see that my text is a little off. I want it to be in the middle, so again, I'm going to go to size and position. This time I want to move it horizontally. And then I can just click right down here to this and do the same. Oh, not too much. Close. So that looks okay, right? These are buttons, so you know when you have a button, you click on it. You want to reference your states right away, right? So I'm going to go down to my states. You can see that I have a hover that looks like that, a down that looks like that, a visited like that, and then a disabled. So none of those are really too glaring that I want to change it, so I'm just going to be okay with that. So now what you want to do is this has all just recently occurred on my base layer. And that's how you want to do it. Your first part of your comic is going to be on your base layer. And what this next is going to do, when I make a decision here on my buttons, this is where the greatest part of what storyline is it's going to allow me to show a layer here. And I want that layer to appear right here, right? So I'm going to go down into my layer and I'm going to create a new one. And I'm just going to be direct about it and call it top right. And I'm going to call it top right yes, because as you can imagine, I'm going to have a top right no, right? Because this is the decision matrix. And the other thing that you'll notice, and we talked about it in class a little bit, you see how everything's grayed out? I mean, I can't click on anything. But it's grayed out enough that I can begin to design in this top right manner where it's going to line up exactly where I want it to, right? So that's a really good thing. And I get to make a decision now. So I'm going to start with yes, right? So I'm just going to go to Insert Character, and Amber's still talking to us. I'm going to insert Amber there. I want to make sure that the perspective hasn't changed. Oh, you know what? That's a lie. I'm actually going to make it a little bit bigger because we're going to make it seem like we maybe zoomed in a little bit, right? One of those deals. So you know that I've got her to the size that I want. Double click, crop. I can just grab this down here and move it very, 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 very precisely right there. So now when I click on it, isn't that nice? So even though I won't see it here, right, like nothing's happening, but at least I know when the layer does show, it's going to be perfect, right there exactly where I want it. So I got Amber on there, and I said yes. So all I'm going to do is what? I'll say something now. I'm going to insert a caption. And remember, I made a default style, so the moment I make this, it's going to be exactly what I want. And I'm just going to start typing, right? So it's selected. Terrific. Oh, it's got that shadow. And darn it, I don't know why I did that, but I'm going to go home, and then I'm just uncheck that. I'm also going to left align, and we're good. So Amber is really happy that Paul is here today. Yours is going to be a lot more sophisticated, I imagine. Again, you're going to have people interacting. You're going to have people talking back and forth to each other if you'd like. And I'm going to show you a little something here shortly just to show you how to do that pretty efficiently. So of course now I have Amber and I have the caption. Everything is normal. We don't have to deal with anything like that. I will add an animation to this just so it kind of looks a little something, so maybe a fade. And as to not get too complicated, I'll just pull it back a little bit. So we'll have Amber come in and then she'll be as if she's talking, okay? So we do know that I go to this comic and I want it yes. And because I labeled well, I want this yes button to show the top right yes layer. All right, that's it. So I write that down and then I just make some decisions. I click on my triggers and I say, change the state of, that is not what I want. So I click on this. And of course you can see that I'm going to show layer. So show layer. Well, what layer? I want to show layer top right yes. And when? When the user clicks, that is correct. And then of course I named it. This is what's really nice about naming things, is that it's right there. I want to show, and it helps me stay organized too, right? So I want to show layer, there's yes. When the user clicks, yes. So it's a good way for me to see that everything is aligning well. But of course, if it's not, you just click on it and find your button. Then I hit OK. And now I can test it. So preview this slide. Oh, have you seen Paul? And then I can go over here and say yes. And of course, that comes up as such. Some things that I want you to do now is you can see that I can still click on all this stuff here, right? I don't want that to happen. I want that to kind of go away. Now, there's a few ways that we can do this. And if you think about it, when I click on this and go to states, you see that I had the normal, the hover, the down, but also down here I had disabled, right? So one thing that we can do is say, when I click on the yes, not only show the layer, right, but also disable it so they aren't able to click it again. And then you'd want to do the same to the no, right? So that's another great feature with Storyline that kind of Captivate makes a little more complicated, right? If we wanted to add multiple actions to one item in Captivate, we had to do the advanced actions. Then we had to open up that window. In Storyline, you don't need to do that. So as you can see right here, if I look over, it says yes. So here's my yes button, and here's the action that associates with it. But if I also want other things to happen, I just simply have to have this highlighted, go up to New, and make my decision. So I want to change the state of yes to disabled when user clicks yes. I hit OK. And then you see, here it is, yes. Then it has show layer, and then it has change the state of. I also want to change the state of no to disabled, right? So what I can do is click on the action that I want, change the state of yes to disabled when the user clicks, go up here to copy, which is very similar to that duplicate action that we've done in Captivate. So I hit copy, I click on the button that I want, which is no, and then I hit paste, and you can see that it automatically, the moment that I selected the button over here and hit paste, it says change the state of no to disabled when the user clicks. And here's when you want to make sure it translated correctly. I don't want it to disable when the user clicks no, because they're not going to, they're clicking yes. It's when they click yes. So does that make sense? Basically what I'm saying is when I click yes, I want this layer to show, but I also then want both of these buttons to disable so they don't go back and click it again and change their mind or something along those lines. So to show you, I'm just going to go say preview this slide. Here comes Amber. She's asking us a question. I'm going to say yes. And now you can see that it doesn't even turn into the finger. See that how it's just, it remains an arrow and these are unclickable? All right, cool. Another thing that you could have done, which I have no problem with you doing, if you're not that kind of, I'm in triggers. I like doing that. I like it seeing the panel and controlling things via the triggers. Others do not. So one thing that you can do if you wanted to not do triggers is go into that layer, right? So one thing is that, so Amber's going to come up and it's going to be this new layer. What I could have done is say insert shape. So maybe I'll grab a rectangle here. And I take that rectangle, and I want to do this anyway, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But if I take that rectangle and push it all the way over to above my buttons, see that, what I did there? You just cover the whole screen here, not a big deal. And then I'm going to format this, so right click and say format shape. When I do that, I can change the color. I want it to be white. And I'm going to put up my transparency here to, let's say, about 50. And what I've done is kind of faded that out so we can still see what she was asking and what was going on in that panel, but it's very obvious then to the learner that we're in this new panel. But by taking that shape and putting it over top of these buttons, they are now going to be unclickable because they're covered by the shape, right? So that's one neat thing that we can do instead of doing the triggers, right? So let me preview this now and you'll see what I'm talking about. Here comes Amber, she's got a question. I'm going to say yes. And now it's kind of covered her up. Do you see that? So you can see like that part of the comic is done and we've moved on to this one. But these buttons, everything over here is completely, totally unclickable. Entirely up to you how you want to go about that. I'm just going to hit close now. So you got the idea, right? I mean, that's pretty much how it's going to go. Also things that you can do is now that I have Amber set up here in this position real nice, I have this, everything about this that I want, I can also just duplicate this layer now, right? So if I come down here, it's blue, so I know that's the layer that I'm talking about. I can go to this duplicate layer, click on it, and it says top right yes copy. If I double click on that, I'm going to just say top right no, and O. And everything is cool. Now I have this faded panel on here already. I have amber in a good position already, and I have this everything that I want. I just need to go in here and say something different, like, oh no, I really needed to talk. There we go. So now that I've done that, I don't have to worry about positioning X and Y. I can just come down here to my main layer, go on to no, and then you see there's a button on here, no. So here's another way. I can just say add trigger, and we know that I want to show the layer top right no. When user clicks no, because I named well, I see that it lines up. No, no, hit OK. And this is up to you. For those of you that decided to do the trigger, please copy and paste those to go along with your no. For those of you that use the shape to cover it up, just know that that's done already. So now I can hit preview this slide. Amber's interested in asking us a question, and I'm going to say no. Oh no, I really need to talk to him. Okay? So there we go. Part 2 of this, and I'd imagine you're getting the idea of how this is going to close out and continue.